Welcome back. This is the second day of Friday Drinks and Sawira Marketplace. It's been a thrilling 2 days so far, and the conversations have been flowing, and I've learned quite a bit. And now we've got somebody who's more interesting and will help us in the investment sector, and that's Onismas Karakadzai. Did I get that right?
Sure.
Yeah, and that's Nyaradzo Asset Management. So maybe just to begin with, maybe just give us a bit of background on what Nyaradzo Asset Management is all about and what do you actually do?
Thank you very much, Tinashe. So, Nyaradzo Asset Management Company is a subsidiary of Nyaradzo Group. So, it was formed in 2019. The main purpose is to preserve and grow investments on behalf of Nyaradzo Life. But beyond that, we do take care of investments on behalf of other clients. So my role is I'm the head of the asset management company, is to give guidance, is to give advice to the group in terms of investments.
Okay, fantastic. And what does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
So on a day-to-day basis, because we do have an array of investments that we do. Equities, we've got investments in equities on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange as well as Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. We've got investments in the alternative space, that is agriculture, the mining sector, renewable energy, as well as short-term investments in money markets. So on a daily basis, we do look at those investments to see their performance. If it's the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, we do monitor the activity there with the intention of then making decisions based on what's obtaining. If there are picks that needs to be done on the some of the counters, that's what we do on a daily basis. We also do analysis in terms of possible investments that we'll be looking at from a group level, conducting due diligence in terms of returns, in terms of the risks, before we actually make recommendations to the investment committee as well as the board.
Oh, fantastic. So if we're here out in the diaspora and somebody is looking at Zimbabwe and looking at the capital markets and alternative markets that you guys deal with, what's the advice that you would give them? What do they need to do and what's the minimum investment that they need to put in? Do you have unit trusts or is it a lump sum? How do they go about it?
Okay, so there are a number of investments that people can look at. The first one is investments on the Victoria Stock Exchange, because it's USD-denominated. So people in the diaspora are able to access that market, buying counters in USD, and the returns are also in USD. So it's a ring-fenced stock exchange that was actually formulated to attract international investors, diaspora investors. So that's one area that they can look at. The other area is the property sector. It's coming up big. The diaspora market has got access to foreign currency, so investing in Zim becomes much easy, and we come in there to facilitate and assist in that space. We do also have investments in property through what are called REITs, real estate investment trusts, that we can facilitate on behalf of clients, so they can actually own a brick of a shopping mall or a brick of a property because they are buying a unit or on that property. So those are some of the investments that we have. What we are also doing is we are creating a renewable energy fund where retail investors, even from the diaspora, are able to to buy units where the funds that are raised are intended to develop and grow the renewable energy sector, particularly solar energy. As you know, in Zim, we've got energy deficiency, so it's a space that is very lucrative, and the returns are quite sizable. And it's a sustainable
When you say
space.
sizable returns, what sort of returns are we looking at? So if you're in the diaspora and you follow your advice, what sort of returns are we looking at?
Okay, so maybe I'll go investment by investment. So if you're investing on the in the property sector, for example, you're looking at investments between anywhere between 7 to 10%. Okay, if you're looking in investing on we've got money market products as well, short-term investments, you're looking at returns from anywhere between 10 to 15%. Because Zim is high risk, but also it's got high returns. So you find that short-term investments are actually giving investors better returns. If you're looking at the stock exchange, you're looking at anywhere between 8 to 12% return. So when you look at those returns compared to probably what you get here in the UK, it's quite something that that investors will be keen on having.
And these are returns in US dollars.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where you have ZIG, how do you guys go about it?
So Zig was, I think, because of the fears around the Zig currency, you find that most of the investments in Zig are actually being placed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. So you're able to buy shares for counters on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. So that's where placement could be made. And the returns could be anywhere between 12 to 16%, depending on basically the counters that you are picking and the performance of those counters. As you know, that investing on the stock exchange has got its peaks, it's got its downs, but it's all about the period or the time horizon in which you are holding those shares. Yeah.
And
So,
what's
yeah, so if you're in the diaspora and you're sitting on cash, because I think the fixed income returns that you mentioned are quite lucrative, how would you actually place money with your firm? What are the typical tenures, and what's the minimum ticket size?
Okay, so the tenures could, if these are fixed deposit, the tenures are from anywhere between 30 days to 12 months.
Okay.
And investors can invest anything from $1,000, even $1,000 to any amount, and those are the returns that they are likely to get anywhere between 10 to 15% per annum.
okay? And in terms of the law, can I repatriate my money back? What procedures do I need to go through if I'm in the diaspora and I give you money, and then after I get these spectacular returns, can I get my money back into the UK?
Yeah, so I think the whole purpose of why we want the diaspora market to look at investments in Zim is for actually development of Zim. Was the issue of repatriation then involves you need then regulation, or you need approval by the Reserve Bank to have the funds repatriated. But what we're looking at is is for investors that are keen on having investments in Zim that can grow their investments in Zimbabwe. So if someone is investing funds on fixed deposits, for example, maybe their plan is to then acquire an asset, to acquire a property. So they're actually getting a higher return in Zim with the intention of then converting that fixed deposit investment into a property, or whether they want to acquire a piece of land. So those are some of the usages.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And how safe is one's investment in you guys? You know, we've heard, horror stories about how people lose their money. How safe is it if I put money if one guy who's sitting in the UK or in the US puts money with you guys?
Yeah. So for starters, we are part of a reputable group. We've got strong governance processes as a company that ensures that the funds that we're investing, the funds that are holding on behalf of investors are safeguarded. So we've got an investment committee, we've got the board that oversees all the investments that we make. So in terms of us as an entity, in terms of making sure that the funds are safeguarded, we've got those pillars in terms of governance. Then in terms of the general country, obviously there is country risk. But what we do is, because we monitor these investments on a regular basis, on a daily basis, we are able to then give advice. Should we anticipate something that could affect investments, we're able to give that advice and perhaps pull out of certain investments before the catastrophe happens, or place those funds in assets that we know that are inflation proof and perhaps currency hedging.
Well, so as a capital market player as well, I want to double click on what Onismas has said, and just also point out that the Zimbabwean capital markets exist in a regulatory framework that makes it incredibly difficult for bad actors to destroy client value. So if you are making an investment to a Zimbabwean capital market player, that every penny that you allocate to that capital market player actually sits in a trust account with a separate custodian that is also regulated. So the scope for things to go wrong, in terms of a bad actor, running away with your value it's almost impossible. So it's one of the fantastic things that the policymakers did in terms of reforming the way the capital markets in Zimbabwe work. So if you don't get the return that you're looking for, it essentially won't be because of anything scandalous.
Okay. Well, on that great note, thank you very much, Onismas. And we wish you the best. And I'm sure you'll get a lot of people knocking on your door, or a lot of phone calls. It sounds exciting. And I think it's a better return than you get out here in the UK.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Welcome back. This is still Friday Drinks and Sawira Marketplace, and we're here with Simango, who is the head of another SBU, and that's Eureka Insurance Brokers. So maybe to start off with, Batsi, please tell us what an insurance broker is.
Thank you, Tinashe. Thank you, Rufaro, for having me here. So our role as insurance brokers is an intermediary one. For example, we get to match what client needs there are in the market and place that risk with carriers or insurers. So think of it as a way of understanding the insurance or risk solutions that the market requires, and then identifying who the best carrier or insurer is. For example, somebody who wants to have agriculture insurance, firstly from an advisory role, understanding what sort of business they're into, and then advising them on the best way to cover that risk with a relevant insurer.
Okay, fantastic. So it sounds like you sit in the middle and you know exactly what our needs are, or you anticipate what our needs are, and you know exactly where to place that insurance or where we can take that insurance.
Yes, correct. So when I look at any one customer, obviously I take time to understand their situation from a risk perspective, and then giving them the relevant advice so that they can have that adequately covered to ensure that there is minimal loss in the event that the unfortunate happens.
Okay.
Yes.
And you know, you obviously have been in the market long enough. What would you say is the biggest pain point for customers out there, especially in the diaspora?
Yes, so we have had our countrymen, in the case of Zimbabwe, for example, leaving home to pursue, career development, or just for the proverbial greener pastures elsewhere. But they also have investments back home. So our assessment of the market is that they still have a risk in terms of exposure to those assets. For example, you may be working here in England or anywhere else for that matter, but you still have your home back in Zimbabwe, which for most people is easily their biggest asset. So you still have an interest in making sure that that house or home is protected. Some of the diasporans have taken time to invest back home. So we also have solutions for their businesses back home. They also have family back home. And we have customized, health cash plans that we place with the relevant insurers to make sure that in the event that they require medical attention, that is also covered.
Okay. So if I hear you properly, you don't just place the insurance within the Nyaradzo Group, but you look at all the insurance companies that are out there, and you then tailor-make the insurance product for your customers.
Yes, that is correct. So in as much as we are part of an insurance entity, which Nyaradzo Group is, there are a number of classes of insurance that we place elsewhere because we're looking for the best solution for the customer. Nyaradzo has come a long way in terms of providing life assurance as well as funeral assurance. But we have other specialized, types of insurance that we place with other players. If you talk of your marine insurance, goods in transit insurance, which are not presently under the Nyaradzo stable. Yes.
Oh, okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. So I've got a question, especially pertaining to insurance. What tends to happen is maybe sometimes we actually don't know that we're carrying a particular risk. Mm-hmm. What's a risk, a very common risk that people don't protect themselves against?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll give you a basic one. Back home, it's mandatory. It's regulated that you need to have third-party insurance cover if you own a car, if you're going to be driving one.
Yes.
You cannot, in fact, have it licensed if you don't have insurance cover. Mm-hmm. So the tendency is to sort of comply with those basic requirements. But there are other risks. For example, you are sitting in a home, God forbid, maybe there's an electrical fault and then that home actually gets raised down. Most people think that it won't happen, but there's a good chance that actually happens. The interesting thing is that when you're looking at the rates that the insurers charge as premium for big assets like a home, for example, it's actually more favorable than insuring your car. By estimation, maybe you're looking at $100,000 house, maybe requiring maybe $15, $20 per month, if you're looking at it in terms of the premium that one has to pay to cover that risk. So most people tend to turn a blind eye to those things, but they are in fact important if you're looking at your balance sheet as an individual, because your house is possibly your biggest investment.
Okay, so that's where you guys come in and you're
exactly,
like,
yes.
Well, you're looking for this particular risk, but have you thought about these other risks that you've
correct.
also assumed? Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh, fantastic. And then within from the other side now, the insurance companies,
Yes.
what is it that they are selling to customers that you think they need to improve on?
Okay, so we are looking at, from our interaction with the market, you get to understand the sort of economic profile of those customers. Our observation recently if you're looking at the case of Zimbabwe, is that there's been a lot of disaggregation where we used to have very large corporates. We now have SMEs, we now have individuals running business as sole proprietors and, that kind of thing. So the tendency, or you could call it informalization of the economy, as it were. So where traditionally you had insurers focusing on the big corporates, but our local reality is that you have got several smaller players. So we then take that back to the insurers and say, please have a look at this, which was possibly previously not looked at closely, but because it is, in fact, a major contributor to the economy of Zimbabwe. If you look at the farming sector, for example, we used to have corporate farmers, large-scale farmers, but because of the dynamics that have happened on the ground, you now have small-scale farmers contributing significantly to our agricultural output. So we're advising bundling, or maybe putting those people in bundles, or aggregation, if you like, so that they are looked at as a homogeneous group that still requires risk placement or risk cover, as it were.
Great answer. So what I'm getting, if I think about it, is when you're in the diaspora, probably the first person you need to meet is Batsi, who then assesses your insurance and your risk.
When you're home.
No, when you're here,
Okay.
in the diaspora, and you want an insurance product of any kind, that the first person you need to actually have a conversation with is you.
Correct.
And then only after you. So you will then do your assessment and then do a recommendation that probably these are the insurances you need to pick up on. And these ones are under the Nyaradzo Group. And then this one, we can then pass it on to someone else. Am I correct in my assessment?
Yes, it's one good way to look at it, Tinashe, because you're looking at a situation where somebody is in the diaspora. So because under the Nyaradzo Group, we believe in celebrating life, Sawira Mkuru. So we walk with you all the way. So we're not just waiting for you to give you a solution at the end of life. So during your life, we want to look at you and say, you possibly have family back home that require medical cover. I can give you that. You have investment back home. You're running a business that needs to be insured against perils and losses. I can give you that. You also have your mom and dad back home, and you want to give them funeral cover. I can give you that. You also have a home. I can give you insurance for that home. So I can give you a bundle that basically takes care of all your aspects in terms of insurance risk. How I position it or place it is up to me as the intermediary or the expert, as it were. But I'm looking at all the facets of your life, as it were, and making sure that you've got that protection that you need.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of, people don't realize that they can actually take out insurance for a lot of these risks. One of the pain points I know people have is with these devices that are indispensable to our lives now. Your phone, your tablet, your laptop. It can get stolen, and you might actually not have capacity at that point in time to replace it immediately. But you can insure these things.
Yes, you can.
As a corporate, as an individual. And when you actually do the numbers, it's probably not going to break the bank, like you was talking, like the example of what it costs to insure a home. But if something, if you're unlucky, it can be very unpleasant to go through that.
That's true. So we've talked about individuals. Let's talk about corporates. Is it still the same thing? If I'm a corporate in the UK or anywhere in the world, and I'm trying to insure, and because I've got businesses in Zimbabwe and also globally, where do you start and where do you end for a corporate?
So the principle is the same. It starts with understanding the risk, profiling that risk correctly, and then giving, advice. If somebody is in the professional services sector, for example, and we're looking at, liability insurance or professional indemnity, if you like, in the event that something doesn't go well and you've got a claim against you because you offered the professional service, you then have your indemnity coming in. But let's say you are a freighter and you move goods from point A to point B. We're looking at your goods in transit. We're looking at your marine insurance. So we can always look at the requirements of that particular business and then give advice depending on the nature of their business. But yes, the principle is the same. Understand the customer. Under the Nyaradzo Group, of course, we believe in listening to what the customer is saying, understanding and then providing solutions. So we are about solutions, and no two customers are exactly the same. You want to understand the customer from a risk standpoint and then give requisite or commensurate advice, as it were.
Okay, all right. So you actually help Mapostori who are moving goods from the UK to Zim. Can they come to you guys?
We are very excited about that Mapostori story. It's an important story because they are moving goods and there's risks attendant with that, movement of goods. And yes, we can offer them solutions.
Okay, fantastic. Sounds great. Thank you very much, Batsi, for joining us. And we wish you all the best. And to our audience, I hope this was as useful as we found it useful. Otherwise, we continue at Friday Drinks and Sawira Marketplace. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, gentlemen.
From the comfort of your home and wherever you may be, getting in touch with Nyaradzo has never been easier. Just scan the QR code or WhatsApp hi to Sawi on 0712 992 892. Hi Daniel, Sawi is available 24/7, 365 days. Nyaradzo Life Assurance Company. Convenience redefined.
Welcome again. It's the Friday Drinks and Sawira Marketplace, and we've got another SBU, and that is Nyaradzo Life, and that's headed by Darlington Mabvure. Thank you very much, Darlington, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Maybe we can just start by just telling us exactly what you guys do. I know we interact a lot with Nyaradzo. They are Sawira Mkuru, but maybe let's get into the weeds. What does Nyaradzo Life Assurance actually do?
Okay. In terms of what Nyaradzo Life does, we take care of the inevitable, which is when it eventually strikes death. We would really want people to prepare for that. We don't wish for people to pass on, but we would want them to prepare while as they can. So essentially, it is about preparation of what will ultimately happen to one if they eventually pass on. So we have got a bouquet of products to really take care of one's needs in the untimely thing that which ultimately happens to everyone else. That's what we do from the Nyaradzo Life division. It's about preparation and preparation for the ultimate day.
I like the way you put that across, the inevitable.
Nyati has this joke that he likes to repeat sometimes when he's with people who have a good sense of humor. He says, "Mese murim work in progress."
We know what will happen with the finished product. Okay. And I, the inevitable, the way you put that across. So what are we saying to the people in the diaspora who will face the inevitable, but would want to find themselves back home in Zimbabwe when the inevitable happens? How do you guys go about that entire process?
Okay. In terms of what one can do while is in diaspora, the first thing is we're actually looking at themselves, but we also understand that they have got families back home, which also needs to be taken care of. So we've got, perhaps, let me speak about two products that they can consider. In fact, considering might not be that they should, if they can take out a product. We've got the Sawira International Plan, which allows cover for themselves within the diaspora. And tied to that particular product, it also allows them to have their dependents back in Zimbabwe covered on the very same product. Then what it does or what it offers, we're looking at the repatriation process itself, right from the diaspora, maybe from this UK back to Zimbabwe. Should it happen, the inevitable that we're talking about, we can do the repatriation. And obviously, it is a process which has got a number of procedures that needs to be taken into account. So if one takes out a policy, the Sawira International Plan, it then eases the burden that is normally associated with doing the repatriation services. You would have actually passed on the responsibility of taking care of the requirements. All the paperwork is taken care of by Nyaradzo. Then we do the repatriation right until a person has been interned back home.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, it must be a spot of bother for a lot of Zimbabweans who are out in the diaspora because you don't know where to start, and it's not like you are, there's a funeral every day. How do you ease the anxiety of somebody? A death has happened, and fortunately, they've been paying their premiums, I would assume. Or maybe let's actually start there. What sort of premiums are we looking at? Just so that you can take away the anxiety, you can take away the spot of bother.
Okay. In terms of the premiums that one has to pay, we're looking at anything above, say, around £10, £20 on monthly basis, depending on what type of product you're taking or what the services that are then required. But maybe for the SIP, like I said, that it gives the services right from repatriation services. But over and above that, it's not only the repatriation that is required. You also want maybe to have one or two relatives to accompany you back home. So tied to this SIP, you can have your air tickets attached to the product. Then back home, many people would have stayed quite a number of years, maybe in the UKs, and they would have been, for example, leasing out their homes. They also need accommodation back home. Tied to the product, you can have it. You can have an apartment where you can, where your relatives can stay in there. You can also have a runaround car. That is a carriage vehicle which will be used back home. So we're trying to actually lessen the burden to try and tie all the loose ends that may be on the funeral work.
That sounds very reasonable. I mean, for £10, if you're taking away the anxiety and you're taking away, I don't know what the regulations are. It sounds reasonable.
No, I think it's a great deal, and it's not just an anxiety. I mean, if you're not covered and you have an unexpected bereavement, it can be a massive financial burden that is quite stressful for you as an individual and the surviving family members. So it's because funerals are not cheap, and if you live and work in the diaspora and somebody you love in Zimbabwe passes on and you have to travel on short notice, it's actually quite expensive to buy tickets for long haul flights on very short notice. And
£10 is for somebody who actually dies in the diaspora, and then the body has to be repatriated.
yeah, but even so even if you're paying a few multiples of that, so that as he indicated, one of your relatives is able to travel.
With the body.
With the body.
Two individuals.
Last minute airline tickets.
Yeah, it's
extremely expensive.
That's true.
And you might actually not have. You might not actually be in a position you might not be sitting on the cash, and you might not actually be able to raise the cash on short notice. So I think it's a great value for the peace of mind.
So how many people are actually covered with the under the £10? Is it just one individual or?
Okay, so essentially on the SIP product, we have got various plan types.
Okay.
You've got your list plan type, maybe your gold plan, which particularly covers what differentiates these particular packages. We are looking at the type of the casket, the amount of gross allowance that we then pay out. Those are the main differentiating factors. But on a core product, it involves the repatriation, just the repatriation on its own. But then we're saying that you can have the riders that I've spoken about. You're looking at the air tickets. It's coming on as a rider, which is also calling for an extra premium added to that. You're looking at your accommodation back home. It's another additional premiums. Then you're looking at other amenities, be it your tents, chairs that were provided on the funeral work. So essentially, what then determines the exact amount that's going to be paid really is what is it that we have added onto your
So
book.
let's say I have all the frills and I want most of my family members covered. How much am I paying?
For example, you have taken maybe your entry product, maybe your gold plan, and you're paying £20 on a monthly basis. We've added all these other frills.
Okay.
Then for your additional members of the family, we don't limit the number of dependents that you can cover. You can have 1, 2, 3, depending on who is supposed to be covered. You can have as many dependents covered on your product.
Okay.
Then
On that £20.
no, not
Okay,
on
so-
20,
so
but basically it's
each
incremental.
edition-
Each edition coming with
Okay.
a premium.
All right.
For example, you're looking at your air tickets, you're looking at around £5 a month. That will be adding on. Then you're looking at maybe your vehicle, you add another £4 to add on. You're looking at accommodation.
So it's
Then
a
for the-
bouquet and I
for
can just
bouquet, yes.
tick
Basically, you're actually
the
throwing
things
it
that I
in
want.
the basket of things that you require.
Okay,
Then you calculate
got
the
it.
total premium there.
Okay, got it. And if I want to include members who are actually in Zimbabwe, so I'm the principal who's actually paying, and I'm here sitting in the UK. Can I include members who are not necessarily in the UK but are in Zimbabwe?
Precisely. You can have members of your family domiciled in Zimbabwe, those that are in Zimbabwe, they can be covered on the product, yes. You can have your dependents here in the UK and
Yes.
the dependents back home.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I've spoken about the additional products, assuming that you're covering maybe your parents or your grandparents back in Zimbabwe, and should the inevitable happens, then you can utilize your air tickets back to Zimbabwe. So the number of dependents.
I think that's what Rufaro was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, you're still able to do that. So if your father or mother passes on, but you have a policy with Nyaradzo, then you're able to use that and fly back home.
And fly back home, yes. So the dependents in Zimbabwe, they can be covered.
Okay, that's very useful. It looks like you've covered the end-to-end process.
Precisely.
Okay, all right.
Precisely.
And then, if the inevitable happens, and
When?
I was the
When? That's why it's inevitable, my brother.
when the inevitable happens, and I was the breadwinner, is there some way of ensuring that the ones that I've left behind are still okay? They're still in school, or can I provide for them, or that's provided by some other SBU?
Okay. Then when the inevitable happens, what is then required? The premiums are supposed to continuously be paid.
Okay.
Yes. It's not like when one eventually pass on, the premiums will still be, the premiums has to be paid again. Yes.
Okay, all right.
But in that
So
case,
then what happens if I was the breadwinner and now I'm gone?
if we're the breadwinner, then are gone, then someone else, we need to have a nominated beneficiary who can take care of the premiums going forward. But over and above maybe the SIP that we're talking about, we've got a product which ensures that even if you've passed on, your beneficiaries will remain covered. We've got a product which we're calling a prepaid. This product allows you to actually choose the nature and the services that you require. You pay it either as a once-off payment, or you can spread the payments over a period of time. But once we have done that, we have actually locked the value. Even if you pass on and you've purchased maybe 1 or 2 prepayments, your family members will continue to be covered even in your absence. So this one takes care of the need to continuously be paying the premiums. A prepayment would have just settled what is required and get a certificate to say that I've already paid for this product and no more premiums are required going into the future. It's one of the products that you can actually say that today what I want on the funerals, I want 1, 2, 3 services. Then we cost it. How much does it cost you? We say that maybe, for example, it's costing you maybe 2,000, 3,000 pounds to get this bouquet of services. Then you pay your monies as a once-off, or you can spread the payments. And then we know that for this particular funeral, even if one passes on, you've locked the value and no more premiums are required or any payments. So a prepayment can actually take care of those scenarios.
Okay, that's great. So in the UK, you do actually have a physical presence. but suppose one is in Germany or in Poland, Zimbabweans are all over the globe. How are they able to still get these services that you talked about if they're on a life policy?
Okay. For the policies, they're accessible over the internet. You can actually apply for a policy. You can go on the sip.global.com. You can actually make an online application and get the policies. We're able to provide the cover anywhere within the world. As long as you are able to apply it even online without the physical presence, you can do it over the internet and get the policies. So it's not restricted in the UK, but it's actually available world over.
Oh, fantastic. Well done, Darlington, and well done to Nyaradzo Funeral Assurance. I think that this is a pertinent and relevant product, especially in the diaspora. The diaspora continues to grow, but as we heard, the inevitable will happen, and you're better off taking care of that. So thank you very much, Darlington. And everyone, continue watching, listening. This is Friday Drinks and Sawira Marketplace. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Hey, Tishafaru, man.
Welcome again. This is Friday Drinks and Sawira Marketplace. It's the second day. Exciting things. We've heard from lots of people, and now we get to hear from somebody who actually is an operator who's actually manufacturing something, and that is Robert Jambwa, who is actually heading one of the SBUs under the Nyaradzo Group, and that is Kalundike and Satklo, which is the manufacturing hub. But actually, maybe, Rob, we can start there. Maybe tell us what the manufacturing hub is and what you guys actually do.
Thank you, Tinashe. Like you said, the manufacturing hub is made up of two entities, which is Kalundike Exports and Satklo. Satklo standing for Sawira Textiles and Clothing. Kalundike was formed in 2003, so it's been 22 years. And then Satklo is only a year old. We maybe just a big background on the two entities. Kalundike was formed with the mandate to provide solutions in the built environment, and then Satklo in the clothing environment as well, industry.
Okay. And why manufacturing? I mean, what we know Nyaradzo of, you'd never think that they actually manufacture. So could you help us understand why manufacturing?
Yeah, Tinashe, when you look at the value chain of Nyaradzo, let's take, for instance, Nyaradzo, most people know it as on the funeral side. You obviously need a coffin or a casket to provide your seamless service. So that is where Kalundike comes in, by making sure that we provide the quality casket needed. And then also, when you look at the service provision from a Nyaradzo point of view, you need the buildings, you need to be able to service your clients. Also, Kalundike comes in making sure that all these spaces are fully done to the satisfaction and comfort of our clients. And then when you look at on the service provision, you want also our staff to be presentable, and obviously the issue of corporate wear comes in. So the formation of these OCBs, they serve a very important use in terms of a seamless integrated service delivery. But not only did we stop there, we also said, okay, our clients, the certain needs that they need in terms of furniture. So we are coming in to provide solutions. Maybe I can give a
Yes, please.
breakdown of the solutions that we are solving. When it comes to Kalundike, we do project management. That's on the construction and side of things, whereby we say, you give us your plan, and then we manage everything for you. Then we come to
Also, if I'm in the diaspora and I need a project manager in Zimbabwe to build my house,
yes,
you guys are able to do that.
exactly.
Okay.
Also, when you look at one of the pain points that the diaspora community has had is they give their money to people in Zimbabwe. The money gets, we have heard of stories whereby the people, they take photos of next door properties to say, to say this is what we have done. So we're saying we're coming in as a solution to that, to say you've engaged a professional entity to take care of that side of things. Then we've got also the issue of customization when it comes to furniture. We are now living in a global community. Our clients here are exposed to high-end quality furniture. So we're saying as Kalundike, we're able to replicate the same at home, whereby you send us your picture, we do everything necessary, you get the same piece, like what you have seen in the UK here. Then obviously, the one more important thing that we're also doing, the issue of remodeling, especially on the kitchen side of things, where we are saying you want to have the same kitchen that you have seen here, you can also have it at home. Then also one of the most important things when you look in terms of our solutions, we've had people that want to bring closure. Say you've buried your relatives at home in Zimbabwe. You want to bring closure. Maybe you want to celebrate their lives by the issue of tombstones. So we're also providing that solution as well back home. And then I want to come back to the space of the clothing industry in terms of Satclo. We're also providing solution in terms of customization, because we find most shops back home, like they only sell what is there in their shop.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, but with us here, you are saying, come to us, speak to us, and we customize. Whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's your themed clothing, your Aurora Squad, you have seen that's happening now. That's the in thing.
Oh, you guys make that?
We do make that. We do make that.
So our producers should stop doing hits and misses with Friday Drinks Clothing, and he should just talk to you.
We are at your service. So
Fantastic. Yeah, because the stuff that you guys have is pretty cool.
So, did you guys make these?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
Yes,
really? Okay.
Yeah. I was actually impressed when I went. Remember we were there together at Nyati's 60th, and all the guests had Nyaradzo gear. I thought I still have that the shirt from that event. It's one of my favorite. So you do make quality stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the things that really underpins all our offerings is the issue of quality. I think we don't compromise on quality, and as we are now also competing with global brands, so we make sure that the quality is top notch.
All right. And so, how competitive are you? So, if I'm sitting here in the diaspora and I engage you guys as a product or project manager, and you build my house in Zimbabwe, how cost effective are you?
I think maybe to answer you, Tinashe, I think the issue of being cost effective is actually in the value offering that you are giving to the client. To say, are you providing the solution that the client is expecting? So by so doing, you're obviously offering value. So we don't really measure value in terms of dollars and cents, but we measure value in terms of providing the solutions.
Okay. All right. And I suppose you come with some sort of insurance or guarantee with the work that you would have actually done.
Yes, all our workers guarantee. And I think the issue is being able to take the client from the initiation stage right up to the delivering of the product. So there is also leveraging on the brand, Nyaradzo brand, in terms of its positioning in the market, in terms of trust as well. So us as the manufacturing hub, we've also taken on board the same principle, of making sure that there's trust involved in all transaction between us and the diaspora market as well.
And your current customers, how demanding are they in terms of just what they require from you guys? Is it unique? Is it the idiosyncratic requirements that certain people would have? Are they demanding?
Yes, I think the main thing that we have seen in terms of they always demand quality, on-time delivery, and also to keep the promise to say, I'm going to be providing this. So what we have done is to make sure that as we're providing our service, the customer is always engaged. And as we're saying, we're going to deliver tomorrow, to make sure that the product actually arrives a day before. So in terms of quality as well, we take pride in saying that all our manufacturing processes are backed by some of the most recent state-of-the-art machinery, to make sure that even in terms of the materials that we use, we make sure that we use the best quality materials as well.
Okay, that's a good point. The point around time and being timeless, and even beating the time that you would have, because a lot of contractors, they'll tell you one thing, they'll sell you one thing, and there always are delays.
Yes.
So I'm encouraged. What do you think?
Yeah, it's fascinating, and I think a lot of clothing in Zimbabwe comes out of China, and the narrative for the longest time has been that Zimbabwe can't be competitive in terms of textiles, in terms of actually making clothing. But I remember when I got into the market 25 years ago, Zim had quite a lot of textile manufacturing and clothing manufacturing, and that seemed to go away for the longest time but you're starting to see companies coming back into that space and be quite competitive. So I'm delighted that you guys saw the gap there and are running with it.
Yeah.
So in line with that, so if I've got a funeral plan with Nyaradzo, and then somebody passes on, and I want everyone in my entire entourage to be, in a particular, dress.
Yes.
Are you able to make that? Is that part of my funeral plan, or that's an extra cost that comes on?
That's actually an extra cost.
Okay.
And we are able to provide, to make sure that, like I remember I alluded to the issue of the memorial T-shirts,
Yes.
themed dressing, to say we have seen if you want, or even the Varoras, if they want to have your wrap around, your
Zambia,
customized, your Zambias, those are part of
And you're able to make that within the period in which I must bury my beloved.
Yes.
Okay,
As
that's
we are
interesting.
on at the consulting stage, that is given to us, we make sure that it's delivered on time as well.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty impressive.
yeah, that's impressive. So do you have a retail outlet, or it's all bespoke?
We do have retail outlets in Harare, and very soon we're going to be in Bulawayo. So in Harare, we've got Muwonde, that's in Rua, for Satklo. And then we're going to be at 82 Central Avenue in Harare. And then Bulawayo, we're going to be at 122 Joshua Mkabugo. That is early next year.
Okay, all right. And the manufacturing side?
The manufacturing side, we're based in Rua. All the two factories are based in Rua.
Okay. So I can only find you in Rua, or do you have an online presence?
Yeah, online presence as well. If you go to our website, you are able to do the necessary where you pick up your product, and then you pay, and then we take care of the rest.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to ask that to say, if you're in the diaspora and you want to order bespoke clothing or any of the services that you guys provide, it's just a matter of going online and then through Sawira Money, making a
Online,
payment.
when you engage our reliable sales reps, then obviously with furniture, with clothing, there's a lot of customization. They get in touch with you, all the details are ironed out, and then our production starts, and then shipping, you pay, and then shipping happens.
Wow. Well, phenomenal. You heard it first year. That's Kalundike and Satklo, and that's the manufacturing SBU under Nyaradzo Group. Thank you very much, Robert, and we hope to see more of you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
sending money from the UK to Zimbabwe? Look no further. Introducing Sawira Money, your gateway to seamless money transfers. You can collect at Sawira Money Transfer Agency offices at selected Nyaradzo branches. With Sawira, it's quick, easy, done.